Hey everyone, today I'm talking about flavor training in babies. My name's Jill Castle. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm a pediatric dietitian and founder of The Nourished Child, which is a website for parents to help them learn about child nutrition, feeding kids, and raising healthy ones. Today we're talking about flavor training, and there's been so much going on in the world of infant nutrition, especially these last few years. Recently, the Dietary Guidelines for Americans came out with a special category for babies to young toddlers up to 24 months. It's the first time ever. And if you want to know what those recommendations are, you can check out my video about the dietary guidelines for birth to 24-month-old children. But today I wanted to focus specifically on flavor training. Flavor training is really just exposing your baby to a wide variety of different flavors before he really starts solids. So flavor training is generally happening between 4 and 6 months of age. And you might be wondering, is this safe? Why that age range? And I'm going to try and answer all those questions for you here today. Before I get started though, make sure you hit the subscribe button, ding the bell so you know and are alerted to every video that I put out. I do post videos about every week. So I want to start with just baby when they're born and just give you some baseline foundational information. When a baby is in utero or in mommy's tummy in all that amniotic fluid, baby is already tasting the different flavors of the mother's diet because certain flavors get transmitted into the amniotic fluid. And you know that baby, when they are in the womb, they are drinking the amniotic fluid. So they get exposed to some flavors before they're even born, which is a really good thing. When moms either breastfeed or not, this can impact the continued exposure to different flavors for babies. So for example, in breast milk, we know that the flavors of the mother's diet gets transmitted through breast milk to the baby. And so if mom has a diet that's spicy or garlicky, those flavors can be transmitted through breast milk to the infant. And so there's been quite a few studies that tell us that babies who are breastfed tend to be less picky or may show less pickiness later in life. And it's presumed because this flavor introduction has happened during that first 6 months, that early period of time when baby is nursing. Now, if baby is using infant formula, we know that that flavor profile is the same. Day to day, it doesn't change with the mother's diet. It's a same flavor profile that the baby gets day after day, several times a day. So this is where flavor training comes in because I think it can be a really useful thing for not only breastfed babies, obviously, because they're still getting the mother's flavors from her diet, but particularly useful for babies who are fed infant formula because it can start to expose the baby before they start solids to different flavors of the diet. So research has shown that babies are very sensitive to flavors at around 4 to 6 months of age. And if you look at the starting solids recommendation, we're waiting until 6 months of age to do that. So we could be missing on a very critical and valuable time frame for introducing flavors to your baby. So between 4 and 6 months of age is generally what we're talking about when we talk about flavor training. And we are not using food to nourish the baby. We're really just using a little bit of food to introduce the flavors. So you might wonder, how do you do it? And is it safe? Yes, it's safe. Because there's not enough food that you're introducing to your baby to cause choking or anything like that. It is really just a tiny little smidge of pureed baby food, pureed vegetables, pureed fruit on the lip or on your finger and letting baby just taste it suck on your finger and taste those flavors. So it's a really small amount. It doesn't count for nutrition. It doesn't add nutrition to the diet. It's really just exposing to flavor. And I think that in that baby who is fed infant formula, this could be a valuable way of exposing them to flavors and preparing them for the introduction of solid food. Some of the research is showing us that babies are more open to foods like vegetables later when they do start solids because their palate has already been prepped and trained to accept those flavors. And so there's a real value in trying flavor training, particularly with vegetables, because those have the flavor, that bitter compound. The bitter flavors in vegetables are the flavors that need to be learned to like. So remember, I mentioned that babies are born already being exposed to flavors in the amniotic fluid, as well as if they're breastfeeding in the mother's breast milk. Those flavors tend to be sweet and they tend to be fatty flavors. Bitter flavors and sour flavors have to be learned. Babies not exposed to those in utero, and they're not generally exposed to those through breast milk. So we have to teach baby to learn to like those flavors. So flavor training can really help with that. We also see research that tells us that the more flavors baby experiences early in life, the less likely they'll be particular or picky about certain foods later. So we really can help babies get exposed and like a variety of different flavors early in life. So how do you flavor train? I hinted to it before, but I'll get a little bit more granular with it right here. You want to take a very small amount of pureed food. So pureed kale or pureed broccoli or pureed sweet potatoes, pureed green beans, and either swipe a little bit on their lip, so they're just smacking their lips and tasting it with the tip of their tongue, or put a little bit on your own finger, pinky finger or ring finger, and let your baby suck on your finger. That is how easy it is to do. If you have a baby who is vulnerable to food allergies, like you have a family history of food allergies, you can talk with your pediatrician about the early flavor training approach to introduce some of these allergens that your baby might be at higher risk for. You might be doing that in your pediatrician's office with your doctor monitoring, but have a conversation about that before you get going. Personally, I think it has a very promising role for infants who are fed infant formula instead of breast milk because we can start to push their palate a little bit, train their palate to accept a wide variety of foods. I think it particularly has a great role for vegetables, which we know are difficult for children to accept and like, and they are the thing that kids tend to be picky about. So it can have a powerful role, I think, for sort of priming the palate for introducing solids at 6 months. So training your baby on a variety of different vegetable flavors could be really promising. I think meats are also difficult for older children, toddlers, to enjoy eating. And so again, I think flavor training with some of the meats that are available in pureed form can be helpful. Now, you could probably use some of your evening meal to train your baby on flavors as well, but just be careful that it's just a swipe of flavor. There's no chunks, there's no volume to what you're introducing your baby to, because we don't want to set baby up for failure or a negative experience. So just carefully choose, if you're not using purees, carefully choose and monitor your baby when you do that. But it might be that you just use the sauce off of, chicken parm or something, and just take your finger and dab it and let your baby taste it on his tongue. Anyways, that's it for today. I hope that helps you. It's called flavor training. If you have any questions, leave comments below. It's a great way to get your baby's palate primed for all the different foods he's going to really start eating at around 6 months of age. Thanks for being with me today. Again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can hit the subscribe button below, ding the bell. Don't forget to check out all the other videos I have on this channel as they relate to child nutrition and feeding kids. Take care and have a great week.